What's going on, everybody? Woodward Bets back in the house on a big Saturday of college football, breaking down all the top 25 action with my boy, Scott. Scott, how we doing, man? Exciting games here this weekend, including a big game for one of the local teams we're going to get into it as well. I see you got your Michigan gear on. They will not lose this week, but Sparty, big game in Indiana here today. So it's exciting for the Spartan fans. And question for you. Do you want Sparty to win so that you're both undefeated next week? I believe next week is the showdown, correct? I know it's coming up soon. Or is your despise of Sparty that much that you don't ever want to root for them, so you just want to see them lose? You don't care about the undefeated showdown. I'm just interested as an outside perspective here on what your thoughts are here on Michigan State to open things up here on the show today.
Well, yes, I am not generally a fan of the Spartans. I generally like to root against them, yes. But I think here I'd like to see them both be undefeated. But I'm a little bit concerned here about the trap game here for the Spartans. You know, knowing what they got ahead of them here, I hope they just don't think they're just going to walk over Indiana. That line is as low as it is for a reason. So hopefully the Spartans just don't look past them here. Definitely would make that game here in another week or two. And as you know, Chris, we've been having fun saying, raise your hand if your team's been undefeated, kind of poking at the Buckeyes there. But, yeah, so like to see that continue on till the next week when we get the next time they play. I believe that is the 30th. I think they're going to match up. So definitely looking forward to that. And, yes, I would like to see them both undefeated when we get to match up against each other.
All right, fair enough. I have some other friends, obviously, big Michigan fans, that they don't ever want to see Sparty win. So they're not worried about the undefeated showdown. But Sparty's look good. But you mentioned that line seems a little lower than you'd expect it to be, and always makes you scratch your head. But we will get into that along with all the other top 25 lines, looking at some trends, seeing if we can find some bets that we really like here on this Saturday. Again, we are Woodward Bets on the Woodward Sports Network. Make sure you follow both on Twitter. We are at Woodward Bets, the network at Woodward Sports, Scott at G_Risen, and I am at Beer Makers Fan. Also want to take a second and thank the sponsor of the show, Underdog Fantasy. And if you guys haven't heard of it, haven't tried it yet, not too late. Head over to Underdog Fantasy in your browser or download the app in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Just a tremendous app. The best ball drafts in there. There's different prop bets in there. Something for everybody. All the different sports. For as little as $1, all the way up to the high stakes. Use our promo code WSN. That's going to get you $10 free on a $10 deposit at Underdog Fantasy. Again, promo code WSN as in Woodward Sports Network, and get that free $10 on a $10 deposit. So, Scott, Underdog, been a lot of fun. Glad to have them on the sponsor as the sponsor of the show. So let's get into college football, though. You ready to dive into these games here today?
Absolutely. It's always fun to sit around on a Saturday. Obviously, we have college football from noon all the way if you want to stay up and watch Hawaii. Always that late night hammer on Hawaii if you got a shitty day going and you've lost some money. But I don't really recommend that. But we all kind of chuckle at that. Hawaii is your get out of jail free card a lot of times. But anyway, yeah, a lot of football today. Hopefully, like I said, we kind of got a slow day as a Michigan fan. I don't believe your Wisconsin Badgers are playing today either. So, yeah.
They play. Yeah, we play. We play Army, I believe, tonight. So
you really don't
we'll
play.
see. What's that?
So you really don't play. You're just a kind of practice game.
Army's 4-1, so it makes me a little nervous. We haven't been very good, so if a service academy comes in and punches you in the mouth, things really went south. So we also have 2 baseball games today. So Boston and Houston, LA, and the Braves series getting started. Also want to let you guys know, Sunday, got a Lions pregame at Tin Roof in Detroit. You're going to see Maz, Ryan, Braylon, Joik Bell, all there 11-1. So make sure you guys head out and check that out. Again, that's at the Tin Roof in Detroit, 11-1 for Lions pregame tomorrow. So, all right, Scott, let's get into some of these games here. We'll start with LSU and Florida. In this one, we got Florida minus 9.5, total at 59.5 here. 11.5 is actually, it opened up at 9.5, so all the way up to 11.5. Looks like majority of the action on Florida here, 61% of the bets coming in on the Gators here. So LSU is in trouble, man. They have not played well. Ed Orgeron is really kind of on thin ice. He's too damn big to be walking around on some thin ice here, Scott. So this may be the straw that broke the camel's back here if they can't get it together here against SEC rival Florida.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Coach O, he's definitely too big to be on thin ice. But yeah, they're in some trouble. They beat Florida last year by 3 on a last-minute field goal, if I believe. But Florida's going to want some revenge here. They've lost twice in a row to them. So I think this is a good spot here for Florida to put a whooping on them here. I think they're going to want to pay them back for the last couple of years here. So, yeah, that line's bumped up from 9.5 to 12. So, Chris, we may have missed the discount on this one by now. Now that it's up as high as it is, maybe we would have got on a little earlier in the week as we kind of talk about when we break down some of the NFLs. But, yeah, 2.5 points. That line's already gone up in favor of Florida.
Yeah, you're probably right. I like Florida here. If I could have got in under 10, I think I like it a little bit better. But up at 11.5, I still think that they win the game. I still think the cover is the likely outcome, but I don't love it as much at this elevated number. So you're right. We probably missed our window on that one. So let's move on to our next game. We got Central Florida with top 5 Cincinnati. Cincinnati playing extremely well right now. This one opened at Cincy minus 20. We're up over the key number of 21 now. Cincinnati minus 21.5. Total ticked up a little bit from 56 to 56.5 in this one, Scott. So Cincinnati playing extremely well right now. I'm trying to dig around and see if I can find a 21 on this one, but it looks like it's pretty standard across the board at 21.5. That number always makes you a little bit nervous. Scott, are you a guy that'll buy the points? I know some people – it's something they never do, kind of like insurance and blackjack. It's something I just never do. I never really buy the points. You know, is it ever really going to land on 21? You know, sometimes, yeah, but that hook sometimes makes people nervous. I think Cincinnati rolls in this one, so I don't mind the 21.5 here.
Yeah, that hook. I generally won't buy that hook. I think I've done it maybe once or twice in my time, but as a rule of thumb, I don't like to do it. I'm not going to say I've never done it, but it's not something that I look to do. But yeah, this one here, 65% of the money's coming in on Cincinnati. And I will say, if you look back at their past couple games here, both times Cincinnati has won by a field goal. So they've played some pretty tight games. Now you got a year here where it looks like they're a 3-touchdown difference. So, yeah, I think Cincinnati's going to also look here at an opportunity where they might be able to smack a conference rival here around a little bit. So maybe I look at the over a little bit here in this one too. Seems last year they put up quite a bit of points. Cincinnati obviously being a top 5 team, obviously we believe they're going to put up some points. So maybe I'd look at the over here in this one.
Yeah, I like the over as well. Again, you mentioned I think UCF's going to be able to do enough, put some points up. Cincinnati, very potent offense here in this one. So I like the over here as well. I like Cincinnati a little bit more. Maybe I'll parlay the two together, but the over, a great call here as well. All right, let's not bury the lead. Let's cover the local team here, Scott. Michigan State travels to Indiana. Again, we mentioned the spread sitting right about minus 4.5 at most spots. I do see a minus 4 out there on this one. Indiana, we know, is in shambles, dealing with a lot of injuries. Really been a disappointing team in the Big Ten thus far. And Michigan State, they've been playing extremely well. I think surprising a lot of people, led by Heisman frontrunner right now, Scott, Kenneth Walker, playing extremely well at the running back position. So thoughts here? Does Sparty continue to roll? Why does the spread seem so low? That's my hesitation here on this one.
Well, I'll tell you what, now that I can get this spread over 3, it's up to 4.5 in some spots. I think the Sparties this is a perfect trap spot. We've got to remember, these are young kids here. These are not professionals. They know they're looking forward here to this Michigan game here in a few weeks. And also Indiana had a bye week last week. So they've had 2 weeks to prepare for the Sparty team. They're at home. I just think, there's too many of the moons lined up here, so to speak, that could just burn the Spartans. So as you said, it's a fishy line. I think a lot of the money, over 70% of the money's coming in on the Spartans. I'd be hesitant here to really. I think if you're a Spartan fan, you should probably just watch this game and not deal with the frustration of possibly they win by 3 and then you don't cover the spread. I mean, that's going to be my prediction here. I think the Spartans are going to win by 3, but they're not going to cover that 4.5 spread. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks. Just like I said, Indiana's had 2 weeks to prepare, and the Spartans got a lot more on their mind than Indiana right now.
I like Indiana here as well. It feels like a good fade the public spot. Like you mentioned, everybody, 2/3 or 3/4 of the bet on Michigan State right here. A lot of money coming in on them as well. And as impressive as they've been, it's still tough to go on the road and win games in conference. And maybe the Big Ten is not as strong with some of the middle to bottom teams that we've seen in the past, but it's still a tough task here. I believe it's Indiana's homecoming, so it could be a raucous environment even with a noon game. So, and you also have the look ahead. So a lot of reasons. I think Sparty wins, like you said, but I think this one stays a lot closer. So I'll also lock in Indiana now that it's up there at plus 4.5. All right, next game, SEC showdown here. We got Auburn and Arkansas. Arkansas minus 4.5 here. Total sitting at 54 in this one, Scott. So always fun when these SEC teams get it going here. What do you got in this one, Auburn and Arkansas?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the favorite here with Arkansas. I'm just gonna roll them here in this. Auburn, to me, I watched a little bit of them, and they just didn't seem too impressive to me here at all. So I think the 4.5 number, it's gone up from 3.5 to 4.5. They're at home. I think I like the home team. Hopefully they can get it done by a touchdown. But, yeah, I'm going to look at Arkansas here.
I like the over in this one. Two teams that can score some points here. I've seen 58% of the bets on the over, so about an even spread there. But I like this one to score some points. We've seen Arkansas put a ton of points on the board in these games, in a lot of games this season. So 54 seemed a little bit too low to me, so I'm going to lock in on the over on this one at 54, 54.5, depending on your book. So again, shop around, try to find the best price. It's only half a point, but if I can land 54, I certainly want to go that route. All right, next game for us, we got Oklahoma State, ranked 12th, traveling to take on Texas here in this one. In Texas, minus 3.5 in this game. So one of those weird, you got the ranked team and the other team is not ranked, and they're the favorites here. So obviously, tough spot going into Texas here, Scott. Any strong leans on this one, Oklahoma State and Texas?
I'll tell you what, the underdog has covered the last 4 times here. So, this game here, this is a rivalry game. Obviously, we know, the history between these teams here. But, yeah, you're right. It is kind of a head scratcher here when you look at a team number 12 in the country and you're wondering why are they a dog here. So, I think this one here is a little confusing to me. If I had to pick anything, I think I would go the over here in this game. Usually a lot of times Oklahoma State, Texas, just kind of looking back at past matchups, it just seems like there's a lot of points being scored. So I don't mind the over. But yeah, it is a kind of odd that number 12 team is underdog to a non-ranked team, but not sure how you feel about it. I'm just going to leave that line alone, the spread.
And Texas is right on the fringe. They're 26th, if anything, 25 in one of the polls, I believe. So technically they are ranked, but I'm going to take the points here. I know it feels a little bit fishy here, but Oklahoma State playing well, undefeated. Texas has had their struggles, kind of an up and down team. So I'll gladly take the points in this one. Hopefully I'm not stepping in a bear trap, but I like Oklahoma State in this one plus the points. So next game for us, we have, what do we got? I lost my spot here, Scott. What's our next game?
Texas A&M and Missouri.
Texas A&M, Missouri. All right, open it up. What do you got?
We got Texas A&M, Missouri. 10.5 is up. The spread started up at 9. Looks like 57% of the money has been coming in on A&M. Mizzou is 0-6 against the spread so far this year. So this line actually opened up at 61 over under down to 59.5. So here I'm just going to roll with Texas A&M, who's they're 4-2 on the season, 3-3 against the spread, but Man, you got Mizzou, who is 0-6. I think A&M gets the W here. The hook here, you can get it in some spots at 10, 10.5 in some spots. So I'm going to try to get it at 10. But yeah, I like A&M.
I don't have any strong leans on this one. I'm with you if I have to, lean one way or the other. And again, it's very important to know you don't pick every game. When you're betting, find a few games you like, find a few totals you like, and really focus in on those. I think people get themselves in trouble when they're spreading themselves across the whole card and trying to bet 8, 9, 10 games in a weekend. Now it's tough to recover and pay all that juice. So I don't have a strong lean on this one, so I'm just going to stay away on this one, Scott. All right, what do you got? Next game. Who's up?
We got number 20, BYU at Baylor. It looks like Baylor is -5, opened up at 4.5. The line was at the over-under started at 48. It's up to 51.5. I actually like the trend here of the over. Everybody seems to be betting the over. Obviously, gone up 3.5 points. But, yeah, I think I'm going to roll with the over in this BYU-Baylor game. And I'm just going to stay away from the spread here as far as each team side, but I'm just going to roll with the over.
Another game. Don't have a strong lean on this one either. Again, this line's kind of all over the place. There's some 5s, some 5.5s. I do kind of go with you on the over just because this thing has trended up, and it also feels like do we miss our window on this one? With this one opening up at 48, as high as 51.5. Add a lot of books out there. I'm going to lean the over here, but again, I wouldn't put it in my best bets category. So a little bit of a lean there. All right, Scott, next game. What do we got?
We got a good one here, Chris. We got an SEC battle of number 1 Georgia is hosting the number 11 Kentucky Wildcats. You almost think that this would be a basketball game if you would have told me that before the season started. But UGA, we got -21.5. Actually started at 23.5. The over/under hasn't moved from 44.5. Both teams are 6-0. Both teams are playing really well. I mean, man, that seems like a lot of points for the number 1 team to be given Kentucky. I mean, is there that big of a difference between the top team in the SEC and Kentucky? I'm kind of hesitant on that. I think I might take Kentucky in the 21 points here.
I really like Georgia. They just are on a different level right now. I know a lot of people thought Alabama was that team. Georgia on both sides of the ball really, really stand out. That defense is lights out. So I like Georgia in this one. I actually like the over, too. I think it's going to be one of those games where Georgia's going to put up points. Can Kentucky keep pace? I think that they can do enough offensively to kind of get over this total. So hate betting an over on a team with such a good defense like Georgia, but I really like both of those. I like Georgia. I know a lot of people are going to go to Kentucky. It's a huge line. How could a top 12 team be such an underdog? But I do think this one is quite the mismatch. So I like Georgia, and I like the over in this one as well. All right, Scott, next game. What do we got?
The next game, I was just looking at this Kentucky-Georgia game. Man, Kentucky hasn't scored too many points on Georgia the last 3 years, only 20 points. So that's definitely concerning, but I still like the all those points there, and that highly that's going to be obviously that's a good matchup. That might be the marquee game of the day here as we're going through.
That one will be fun for sure. I mean, we'll see. Kentucky, it's been a while since they've been relevant like this, so a tough spot going into Georgia always, but I think this one could be a pretty entertaining game.
Well, we got the best team in the Big Ten up next at 3:30 with Iowa, number 2 Iowa hosting Purdue. 67% of the money's coming in on them at 11.5. It started at 12.5. The over/under hasn't moved at all from 43. Iowa 6-0. They squeaked one out last week against Penn State, as we saw. I actually had Iowa in a few of my bets last week at -2.5. So for them to pull out that victory by the field goal was it's always fun when you squeak one out by a half point. But I may bounce right back to Iowa here against Purdue with this 11.5. Looks like some money might be coming in on Purdue for that line to drop to 11.5. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with Iowa here.
All right, we're split on this one. So this one ain't going to end up on anyone's best bet card. I like Purdue in this one with the points. My initial feeling was, why is this line so low? And then you mentioned, some money coming in on Purdue. I really think they have underperformed expectations so far. And Iowa's defense is so good This team causes a lot of turnovers. That definitely is a concern with Purdue traveling to Iowa. But I think Purdue can keep this one close. I think they do enough and keep it within single digits, even if it gets out of hand at the end. Hopefully stay under that 11.5, 12. So I'm going to go Purdue with the points in this one. Scott, next game, what do we got?
We got the Crimson Tide off that loss going out to Mississippi State. They're given 17. The line hasn't moved at all. 74% of the money is coming in on Alabama up at this point. 5-1. Man, when's the last time we saw Alabama, Clemson, all these teams not at the top of the rankings like we're used to seeing? But yeah, little different one than normal here. But just kind of looking at some past trends, the favorite has been covering the last 5 out of 6 times. The home team is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 meetings. But I will say this. I think Alabama is going to be a little upset. I think somebody kicked the bee's nest here. I think Saban's going to be probably not so nice in practice this week. He's going to remind them that he lost. It's not something they're used to doing over there in Alabama. So I think you're going to get Alabama's best shot here, and you might see him roll it up on him here.
I'm on the other end of this one too. We might have to have a little betting contest, Scott, and see where our picks land.
We might.
I like Mississippi State in this one. I think, your point is valid. I mean, there's 2 ways Alabama can come in pissed off like the bee's nest, like you said, and really come in and roll this team. It could also be a subpar Alabama team, kind of knowing, they're not eliminated. You're Alabama. You're going to be in the running. Even with one loss, they're still going to be there at the end. But Mississippi State, an impressive win last week at Texas A&M. They're riding high. They're catching a lot of points here at home. This line has not moved. So it's just a lot of indicators for me. I like the points in this one. Wouldn't shock me to see Alabama come in and roll them. Like you said, it wouldn't be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. But again, I think Mississippi State can stay competitive in this one. So I'm going to take Mississippi State plus the 17. All right, next game. What do we got?
The next one here we got, let's see, just kind of lost my train of where I was at. Oh, here we go. We got TCU at Oklahoma, number 3 Oklahoma. So this one here started at 12.5. It's up to 13.5. The money's kind of split here, 53% coming in on TCU. Oklahoma, obviously 6-0. TCU is 3-2, but man, I think Oklahoma, this might be quite a bit of points here for me. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be on Oklahoma. So if we disagree on this one too, I don't blame you. But this one I don't really have a strong lean to, but I think TCU might give them a little bit of a fight.
I like the over in this one. It's a high number, no doubt, but I think both of these teams are going to be able to score some points. Oklahoma, that offense has been a little bit disappointing for sure, but and I know this number's ticked down a little bit from the opening at 65.5, but TCU is another offense I think is better than people give it credit for. So it's only a matter of time for Spencer Rattler and this offense have a kind of a coming out party, have that huge game. I mean, this guy was a Heisman front runner to open the season. Yes, they're number 3 in the country. I still don't think they've lived up to expectations offensively. I think we see it in this game. So big number, but college football, we know these games can challenge 100 points. I'm going to take the over in this one. All right, next game, what do we got?
We got number 21 NC State is going out to Boston College. Boston College getting 3 points. The line over-under has not moved at all. It's been at 51. I can't tell you I got to lean anyone on this one here. This is one here I'd probably pass on. There's some pretty good games here at 7:30 that we're going to get to next. And then obviously your big game is at 8. So I can't see myself really being invested at all in this one here. But, yeah, I mean, BC getting 3. I think this is almost like a coin flip here with them being at home. But, yeah, I think I'll be elsewhere on this one.
Yeah, I don't have a strong lean here either. A minor lean to the under on this game. I think you could see this one be more of a kind of an ugly game, to be honest, but no strong leans here. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on this one. 2 pretty good teams. It should be a close game, and the spread kind of indicates that. So let's move on to the next game. What do we got?
Looks like we're going to have us a barn burner here with Mississippi and Tennessee. This game here started out at 78 over under, And man, this game is up to 82. So Tennessee started
Love
out
it.
+3 down to 2.5. So obviously this game here is going to be a track meet points going up on that scoreboard left and right. I mean, is this a scenario here, Chris, where people feel as if you can't get that high? You mentioned 100 points. I mean, you can't put the over under at much higher than 82. I can't hardly ever recall numbers getting really that high. So sometimes I feel as if when you get to situations like this, they really can't. I mean, they can't go to 90. No, I mean that's just unheard of. So this one here, I might lean a little bit to the over. I like kind of betting on these games that they get a lot of points. I was on one earlier in the year. Was in a similar situation. We didn't see any points scored in the first quarter, and it still almost went over. So, but yeah, I think this one here, I'm going to lean the over in this number 14 Mississippi team going out here to Tennessee.
All right, I'm going to take Tennessee in this one, and a lot of +2.5. So there is a +3 at BetMGM. So I obviously would much rather have the +3 than the +2.5. So you're right, though. Those 80s is so hard. You don't like betting the under because these teams are going to score points. The over, you really got to. I mean, you got to sweat out. You need 8 touchdowns. It's more than that. I mean, you need more. You need 12 touchdowns, 11, whatever the math is. So 11, 12 touchdowns. So it's a long sweat. So you start feeling like, all right, we're approaching 80, and I think these two teams can certainly do it. One of the highest totals I can remember here of recent memory, but. I think Tennessee kind of starting to come into their own here a little bit. So I'll take the home team plus the 3 points. Next game, what do we got?
Yeah, that Tennessee-Mississippi game, that one will probably be pretty popular in DFS with an over-under like that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But moving on to the 8 o'clock, we got your Badgers hosting the Army team coming in. You know what? I know for a fact that these type teams are really tough to prepare for. Not something that you guys, teams normally see. I mean, this over-under has gone down 4 points, and it started at 42. I mean, it's down to 38.5. I mean, this is two ends of the perspective here as far as points being scored from one game to the next here. I mean, this one here, you don't generally see over-unders much lower than a 38 in a college game. So 58% of the money coming in here on the Badgers -14. It went from -11 up to 14. So I think we kind of missed our discount on that. I don't really like that at 14. That's kind of concerning, especially with such a low over-under. But I think if anything, I think we kind of missed the boat on all the sides of the game. I like the under. I'm not sure at 38.5. I definitely liked it at 42.5. But you might talk me into something here being your team. But I think at this point here, I think that ship has done sailed. I should have been on that earlier in the week.
My team has pissed me off, and I don't want anything to do with this game. It's kind of like when your kids make you mad. When I was a kid, it went a lot differently. But nowadays, it's the timeout, thing like that. I don't want to see you for a little bit. That's where I'm at with my Badgers. I don't want to see them a little bit. And my wife was in the Army Reserve. So if they lose to Army, not only did they lose to a service academy, now I got to hear it not only from her. I have other military friends. This could get ugly. So the Badgers better damn well win this game, but I don't want to lose more money on this team. I've invested enough in Wisconsin. So, yes, I'm a little stung. We should bet with our head, not our heart. I am staying away from this one, and they better damn well beat Army here. And how are we still ranked? How are we? I don't know how Wisconsin is still ranked. I don't understand it.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've had some tough losses, to some other ranked teams, obviously. But, man, I feel for you there. I'll have to send you a condolence text there if your Badgers lose, because you definitely are going to get some shit from the wife. That's for sure.
It's going to be terrible, and there's nothing worse than your wife being able to talk shit to you about college football like that. That's just a kick. And she's also a Michigan fan. That one I can take. There's a lot of times Michigan's been better than Wisconsin a lot of years, but if it's Army, I can't swallow that one.
Well, let me ask you, did the apples fall too far from the tree, and your daughter's going to give you shit too and take mom's side? Because then it's like twice as bad, because I know that's what my daughters do.
Oh, they'll hop on for sure. They'll take advantage of the situation.
Well, I'll tell you, we got two last games here before we wrap it up. We got UCLA though traveling out at 8:30 out to Washington. 64% of the money coming in here on UCLA. I really like UCLA here in this game. This game is only -1.5 over under 55, but UCLA's been pretty good to me so far this year. So I'm going to keep rolling with them. I've won money on them the past few weeks. They're 4-2 against the spread, so I'm going to keep rolling with UCLA.
Yeah, this one makes you a little nervous. Why is that line so low? Washington State has had some tough games, kind of underperformed. I'm with you on UCLA. I don't love this one, though, so probably one I wouldn't bet on personally, but I don't disagree with your UCLA call. They're probably one I'll just leave alone on this one.
And moving on to the last one we got number 22, Arizona State at Utah. Utah started at 1. It's down to a pick'em. Line started at 51 over the over-under. Looks like it has stayed the same, has not moved. ASU is 5-1 so far this year, 3-3 against the spread, and we got Utah's only 1-4 against the spread. This one here at 10 o'clock, I know a lot of people like these late games here to kind of try to dig themselves out of a hole if they got into one earlier. I can't say I got a lean on this one here at all, but this over-under here looks like it's something here I don't really want to fool with either, to be honest. I was kind of looking to see something here before I spoke about that. But, yeah, I think I'm just going to lay off this one here as well.
I like the over here. Arizona State's a team that's really put up a lot of points this year. I mean, they have games they've scored 35, 37, 40, 42. So a tough spot going to Utah here. I don't think they'll be points. So the total seemed a little bit low to me. I really like the over in this one.
Sounds good. Chris, before we get out of here on this Saturday, how about we wrap up with best bet or two? We get out of here. There is one game I'm going to throw out there. I threw it out there last week. I like the Eastern Eagles this week here at home. The line started out them at home getting 2.5. It's been bet down to 1. The Eagles are 4-2. They get Ball State at home, who's 3-3 so far this year. A lot of the money is coming in on Ball State, but I really like Chris Creighton and the coaching staff out there at Eastern. So I am going to roll with Eastern at home as one of my best bets, getting the point here today. I think they're going to win that game outright.
All right, I'm going to go with one of the games we talked about. I feel good about Purdue. I'm going to go with Purdue plus the 11.5 here. Again, I think they can keep this game close. The Iowa defense being so good, certainly concerning, but I think Purdue comes out and performs in this one. Iowa probably wins, but again, I think it stays in single digits here. So best bet for me, Purdue plus the 11.5. So that will wrap us up for a look at the top 25 in college football. Again, join us tomorrow where we'll talk all NFL. We'll break down the schedule top to bottom, our best bets. We'll find some props we like. We'll talk DFS. We'll talk season league. We're going to have Detroit Beastie joining us as well. So 3-man booth tomorrow. Tomorrow. So make sure you guys come and check that out. Go and check out the pregame show with the guys at the, what was it, the Tin? I lost the name of the place.
Tin Roof.
Where are they going to?
Yep,
Tin Roof. There it is.
Yep,
11-1. Ryan, Braylon, Joy, Kamaz, all the guys going to be out there. So thank you guys for watching. For Scott, for our boy Sawyer behind the glass, I am Beer saying salut. We are Woodward Bets. Good luck with your college football bets today, and we'll see you back here talking NFL tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. Thanks for watching.